From AIT Studios in Abuja, Nigeria, this is the O&M Sunday Show with Obiora Ilo and Mamode Akuga.
Well, today's afternoon show, of course, we have a tight package for you this afternoon. We're going to be looking at several issues. But Obiora, before we go into all that, I think that something happened yesterday. We sent very, very bad signals. I'm talking about electioneering campaigns that were going on. 2 buses, branded, of course, PDP, campaign buses for President Goodluck Jonathan's campaign buses, were driving through Jos, Plateau State. And the drivers were accused of driving recklessly into a crowd, and eventually an angry mob accosted them,
burned the cars down.
Yes, and burned the cars down.
Well, it sends the wrong signal. Yes, we were reading the papers this morning. You know, when we talked about it late yesterday, where how could this happen and all that. But when we started reading the papers this morning, we saw that the drivers were accused of driving recklessly.
Yes.
But that
Almost
notwithstanding,
knocking down a young boy.
That notwithstanding, they have no right to burn those buses. If the drivers were driving recklessly and they were so angered by it, you could have arrested them because citizens can arrest and hand them over to the police, because
exactly
the message is sending. I'm not sure, I don't know how many Nigerians will read the papers and see the details of what happened. It will send very wrong signals.
Yes, because it could have as well happened to any other person driving any other car. But in this case, it was a campaign bus belonging to President Goodluck Jonathan. Having said that, I think that even members of the APC also need to come out and condemn it for what it is: mob action and jungle justice. So
yes. Another thing I want to talk about is this Obasanjo. You know, Obasanjo never ceases to amaze me. At
times, you wonder. President Olusegun Obasanjo,
yes,
statesman or troublemaker?
I don't know. But yesterday he wasn't making trouble. He surprised a lot of people pleasantly because nobody was expecting him at the president's daughter's wedding after all the brickbats and and the man just appeared.
The shots he's been firing.
Yes.
And, the way of President Jonathan. But, that brings me to have some consideration for what Obasanjo says about what he's doing. And he says that he has nothing particularly against President Jonathan other than the fact that he has issues with his style of governance. And that he, Obasanjo, will lay down his life any day for Nigeria. And that anybody who does not want to make Nigeria better automatically becomes an enemy. And so what he's doing for Nigeria, and not directly against the person of President Jonathan. I think he proved that yesterday by attending the president's
and
foster daughter's wedding.
He stole the show. Obasanjo stole the show because a lot of papers today, what you see is the president shaking hands with Obasanjo. And this man is humble. Forget what he says. You know, he actually had to bend down to greet the president.
Yeah, in respect to the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
While the wedding was going on, the news of Boko Haram, oh my God.
Never ending,
Never ending.
But there's a very worrisome twist to the news that came up yesterday, the allegations that it might have been perpetrated by
a 10-year-old
boy.
Oh my God.
I mean, we've seen young girls getting involved in suicide bombing in Kanu and what have you. And then now we are looking at kids, generally. I mean, these are people who have no proper
understanding.
Yes, of what right and wrong is.
And someone actually said in the papers, the reports in the paper said that particular bomb may have been remote controlled. You know, they send out these little girls and little children, don't know anything about it. They don't even know what they are carrying. Yes. And then someone stays somewhere and presses a button and everything explodes.
Whatever, our security forces definitely need to do more to stop this unnecessary deaths.
And we are talking to those that are doing this, the perpetrators of all this crime. You are still Nigerians, you are still human beings. Let's say no to this violence. Let's just say no to this violence.
And all this bombing and insurgency.
Yes.
Now, talking about insurgency, it takes my mind a little back to some of the issues that President Goodluck Jonathan said last week during his campaigns when he was talking about MEND. And he did say that he criticized MEND's endorsement of Buhari, and he did say that MEND was responsible for the bomb blast in Abuja. I think that was in 2010.
And Mahmoud, that is one of the biggest double speaks I ever saw, because I remember when that incident took place, the president was the first person to say that that was not MEND.
Yeah, and MEND was not involved. In fact, it was just criminals masquerading
as MEND.
If I remember correctly, he did say then that he knew the people who carried out the bombing, and he also said he knew their sponsors. You know.
Well, maybe exposure to intelligence has told him otherwise, and he's saying what he's saying. But he should have clarified that to say, "Oh, I said it wasn't MEND. Now I'm saying it's MEND."
Yes, and there's more intelligence information at my disposal. Anyway, to look at our issues today, we have in the studios with us a former Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria who is now championing the campaign Bring Back Our Girls. Of course, all Nigerians know what Bring Back Our Girls stands for. That's the over 200 girls who were kidnapped from Chibok.
Yes, Orji Ezekwesili, former education minister, a top official of the World Bank and all that. She's here with us, and she'll be talking to us later in the program. We also have a former minister of the Federal Republic who is now a gubernatorial candidate of the APC, Malam Nasir El-Rufai. He's out there waiting and will soon join us.
Chieftain of the APC. Also joining us is a former governor of Abia State. We're talking of Orji, Uzor, Kalu.
The indomitable Orji Uzor.
Yes.
It's going to be fireworks today, so don't go anywhere, because the O&M Sunday show continues in a moment.
I am Mamode Akuga. For almost 3 decades, I have been involved in broadcast journalism, with the better part of that time in the gathering and production of news and news programs. I'm proud to have pioneered weekday morning news talk show on Nigerian television, first with AM TV Live on DBN television, and later with Kakaki on AIT.
I am Obiora Ilo. Over 30 years ago, I started my career at Radio Nigeria. Over these long years, I've presented several programs and interviewed hundreds of guests, men and women, the big stars and the not well known, the rich and the poor, politicians, movie stars, journalists, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as they say. You just name them. I've also covered events across the world, from Europe to America, from Asia and back to Africa, bringing first-class reports.
Now, together with Obiora, I will be coming to your screens 2 nights a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, with the O&M Late Show.
From 6th January 2015, Mamode and I will be bringing our decades of experience to bear on our new talk show, the O&M Late Show.
In our careers, we have blazed many trails, and we are thrilled and ready to set new records with nighttime television. The O&M Late Show,
your late night catch-up.
Spice Supreme, the supreme spice in every dish.
Oh, yes, you're still watching the O&M Sunday show. Right about now, we'll be speaking with our former Minister of the FCT, who is currently the APC gubernatorial candidate for Katsina State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai.
Good to have you. You're welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Have a seat. Yes, Malam, very quickly, how are the campaigns going on with your ambition to become governor of your state?
Well, the campaign is going on very well, and I don't know about ambition. I never had an ambition to be anything. I only had one ambition, to survive and be a good citizen. But circumstances have forced many of us, reluctant professionals and technocrats, to go into politics. So we're learning as the days go by. Our campaign will be officially launched tomorrow, Tuesday, the 12th of January in Kaduna. And then we'll begin the rigor going around the nooks and crannies of the state. Once again, I've done that 3 or 4 times before the primaries, and now the real work starts.
Okay, so you've been in Abuja, you've represented your people, and then worked for Nigerians for a long time. And now you're going back to Katsina State.
Kaduna.
Sorry, to Kaduna State, sorry.
Yes.
We keep making this mistake that you're from Katsina State, so sorry about that.
Well,
you know,
actually,
what message are you taking to the people of Kaduna State? What will you change in their lives? What are you bringing to the table?
Kaduna was the capital of the northern region. So in a sense, Kaduna State gave birth to all the 19 northern states and the FCT. Unfortunately, in the last few years, the state has witnessed arrested development at best, or underdevelopment and backwardness in reality. I mean, compared to neighboring states like Kalu or Zamfara, or even PDP states that one does not expect much by way of performance, like Gombe and Jigawa, Kaduna has gone backwards. And it is all because the state has been unfortunate to have a couple of governors that have confused governance with sharing process of federation account. So our state needs to be put back on track. Our state needs to be the quintessence of good governance in northern Nigeria, if not Nigeria as a whole. And what we hope to do in Kaduna is to give hope back to the people of the state and make the state the great state it used to be. A state where every citizen feels at home, a state of great inclusion, a center of learning, an example for other states to follow. And that's what we intend to do in a very broad way. But of course, the details are in our policies and programs. We publish our draft policies and programs before the primaries. We've circulated them widely, and we've been receiving feedback from the citizens of Kaduna.
Well, we'll wait for the details when you kick off your campaign tomorrow.
Tomorrow, by God's grace.
Yes, but let us bring you to national issues. I mean, Nigerians have known you to make comments about national issues, so let's bring you back to that. But very quickly, the campaigns that are going on, PDP as led by President Jonathan, the APC led by General Buhari. A lot of people have said that the campaigns are targeting themselves. The two presidential candidates seem to have made themselves the issues at the campaign and not what will benefit Nigerians. I don't know how you see that.
No, I don't agree. I don't agree. I think the APC presidential candidate, my mentor and leader, General Buhari, has campaigned on issues. He has talked about the issues that concern Nigerians. He has talked about our impending economic collapse. He has talked about fighting corruption, which is the root cause of virtually all our problems. He has talked about insecurity and what he would do about it. He has never made any other presidential candidate an issue. He has focused on what issues concern Nigerians. On the other hand, the other party has made him the issue, has made whether he has gone to secondary school or not the issue. They have made his certificates the issue. This presidential candidate has run for president 3 times. It has never been an issue whether General Buhari has a secondary school certificate or not. We know the secondary school he attended. There are classmates of his that are still alive, unlike some with PhDs whose thesis cannot be traced. But our party has decided that this campaign will be about issues. We have a manifesto which we've published. We are talking to that manifesto. The other party has no manifesto. The other party is not talking about issues. The other party is not talking about thousands of people perhaps dead in Baga a few days ago. It's not talking about what to do about terrorism. It's saying that they have put in place structures to fight corruption while corruption has escalated. So I think it is not a fair remark to say that the campaign has been our personalities. It has been our personalities for those that have no track record to run on, because PDP has failed this country. Jonathan has failed Nigerians in the last 6 years. So we are talking about issues, and they want to divert that subject back to personalities, to the president went to Lagos to launch his campaign, and he was talking about the age of our candidate. I remember what Ronald Reagan said, that you know, on our own part, General Buhari is not going to make the youthful exuberance and inexperience of his competitors an issue in the campaign.
Anyway,
he's experienced.
A lot of Nigerians don't seem to agree with you. Just this morning in the papers, we saw a very respected Nigerian, former president of the NBA, Molisa Bakoba, you know, writing to the leadership of APCA, writing to the leadership of the PDP, talking about redefining and refining the campaign message in this election.
Olisa is entitled to his opinion, but look at the headlines of the papers today. Just take the headlines. What is the front page story today from the PDP?
Tell me.
Buhari certificates. What is the press release we issued yesterday as APC? Come back to the issues. How do you resolve insurgency? How do you resolve insecurity? How do you resolve the economic collapse?
Okay, I'll throw that question back to you, because a lot of Nigerians are saying that there are too many sweeping statements, oh, we'll stop corruption, oh, we'll cage insurgency and all that from most of the parties and candidates. How in specific ways, for instance, if the APC takes over government on the 29th of May, how will they fight corruption? How will they stop the insurgency? Can you give us details?
I think fighting corruption is the easiest. But before I talk about that, I want you to look at the two parties and the two candidates and tell me which of the two candidates has had a prior track record of fighting corruption. It is General Buhari. One of General Buhari's offenses against the Nigerian elite was the fact that he imprisoned so many of them between 1983 to 1985 because of corruption. So there is a demonstrated will and track record in fighting corruption. What about Jonathan on the other hand? Jonathan has been the main promoter of corruption in Nigeria in this millennium. No president has made corruption official policy and has condoned it and encouraged it and rewarded those who practice it like Jonathan.
How will the APC stop it? How will the APC stop it?
I'm laying the foundation about first, because you see, Jonathan has been president for 6 years. We should interrogate what he has done in fighting corruption before we ask what APC would do. So I want to lay that foundation first before talking about it.
But Malam, would it be fair to make comparison in a military dictatorship and in a democracy? It's a lot easier to send people to prison in a military dictatorship than it is in a civilian democracy.
Good. If it is as easy as that, why didn't Babangida do it? Why didn't Abacha do it? So look, even in a military dictatorship, there is demonstration of will to confront a problem. Babangida didn't do it. He freed all of them. Okay? So please, let's put that aside. I'm not by any string of imagination suggesting that a military regime and civilian regime are the same. But I'm saying even among military regimes, you can see will or lack of will. Okay? So having said that, how will we fight corruption? It is very simple. We have laws, we have institutions set up to fight corruption. All we need to do is to ensure that those institutions are independent of political interference and ensure that everyone that is accused of corruption is made to face the full wrath of the law. Due process of law should be applied. We should not have a situation in which anti-corruption agencies select only those that criticize the government. So we can do, that is how the APC intends to fight corruption, and we will do so. There will be no sacred cows.
Insurgency. How are you going to fight insurgency?
Let me again lay the foundation. Look at the two candidates, the two leading candidates. Which one in his history has a track record of fighting insurgency? It is General Buhari. General Buhari has that track record. The last time the Chadians invaded Nigeria, it was General Buhari in 1983 that chased them out. And the present president of Chad, Idris Deby, was the Minister of Defense at the time. So he knows what will happen. And we all know that the Chadians are part and parcel of encouraging the insurgency in Nigeria, because it is clear from all the evidence from international as well as domestic intelligence agencies that Boko Haram is being resourced from Chad. Okay? So first, General Buhari has that track record. And what do we need to do? Two things, okay? We must improve our intelligence gathering and know where the incidents are and what to do about them. Secondly, we must ensure that our military is fully resourced to fight the insurgency. Thirdly, we need to take very clear steps to address the roots of the insurgency, which is economic hopelessness and political collapse. These are the three things we need to do. These are the three things that Jonathan has been unable to do in 6 years.
Due to sound economic policies, focused and determined leadership, Nigeria has in just 4 years risen to become the largest economy in Africa. Airports have been overhauled and are rapidly being remodeled to global standards. Our railways too have been revived after more than 3 decades of neglect. As a result of well-articulated agricultural policies, rice production has improved more than any other time in Nigeria's history, just as food importation has dropped considerably. The education sector has been reformed, the industrial sector is being revived and has begun to show signs of promise as a means of boosting our economic strength. How can a leader some say is clueless achieve all this and more in just 4 years? Nigeria, the facts are there before you. Think Nigeria, vote good luck. This message is brought to you by the Wind of Hope.
Beware. Millions of people gather all over the world for an encounter from heaven.
Every sick will be healed right now.
Since this young man was born, one side has been blocked, but it popped open right in his service. He can breathe in both nostrils. He is completely infected.
Jesus!
Come and experience God's power in another dimension. It's 5 Nights of Glory 2015, a place where impossibilities become possible. Date 19th to 23rd January 2015 at 4:30 p.m. daily. Venue Salvation Ministries, Plot 17 Biro Beach Street, GRA, Phase 1, Port Harcourt. You can also be a part of these services anywhere by attending our local viewing centers or online at 5nog.org. For other inquiries, call +234 700 447 7722. Come and experience God's power.
You're still watching the ONM Sunday Show. I'd like to quickly apologize for that breaking transmission. We're still with Malam Nasir El-Rufai, and he was just talking about the chances of APC in the next election and the issue of parallel government.
Yes, well, I wanted to start by saying that the issue of forming a parallel government is not the opinion of Governor Rotimi Amechi, the DG of the Buhari campaign. It is the consensus position of the party. Our party has a track record of congratulating a winner if he wins fair and square. We did so in Ekiti. The PDP has never congratulated anyone who has won elections, except themselves.
The president has, a couple of times.
I don't know. I don't recall the president congratulating anyone. And if he did, maybe it is just a matter of public duty that the press people issue a statement. But the party, his party has never congratulated anyone when they lose election. But we have. We have that on the record. What we are saying as a party is that we have polled Nigeria. We do regular monthly polling. We know where we are popular. We know where we are not. We know where we need to work hard. We know where PDP has no chance. And we are convinced, based on the data, based on science, that it is impossible for Jonathan to win the next election. He cannot. He has no record to run on. In the most populous parts of the country where there are real voters, he does not have any support. We are confident in a free, fair, and credible election that is decent will win. Now, the PDP is very good at stealing elections. They are not good at implementing programs or convincing voters or winning elections. They are very good at stealing elections. What the APC is saying, and we want everyone to write it down, including the SSS, is that if the elections are not free and fair, if the PDP steals the next election, the APC will form a parallel government. This is the position of the APC. The chairman of the party has said it in statements. Governor Amechi is only restating it.
Wouldn't that be taking the laws into your hands?
what choice do you have when you have a rogue government that obeys no laws?
Well,
this is the issue. We cannot, look, as ABC, we cannot be the only ones obeying the law. When those that took the Quran and the Bible and swore to uphold the Constitution serially abuse it, what is our response?
I think we'll leave it there, Malam Nasir El-Rufai.
Thank you.
Malam Nasir El-Rufai has never shied away from the issues. Thank you for coming on the O&M Sunday show.
I'm honored to be invited.
Yes, when we return, we have the indefatigable Obi Ezekwesili joining us. Don't go away.
Mahmoud Akuga.
I am Obiora Ilo.
From the 6th of January 2015, we will bring to you the O&M Late Show. The O&M Late Show will be on air twice a week from 11 to 12 midnight.
The O&M Late Show will be in-depth, incisive, objective, analytical, investigative, and quite revealing.
It will feature news, special reports, interviews with experts and dramatis persona of major news developments.
We will bring you news analysis and discussions of events and developments that define and shape national and international discourse.
If your busy schedule will not let you keep up with all the news developments during the day, you don't have to worry anymore.
As Mamode and I will stay awake 2 nights every week to serve you all the news directly from the newsmakers.
The O&M Late Show,
your late night catch-up.
Thanks for still investing your time with us on this very cold Sunday afternoon in Abuja, Nigeria. You know, I forgot to ask you, the Harmattan is something else.
Yeah, but it's welcome. The cold, it's a beautiful difference from the heat of Abuja.
So joining us now is Obi Ezekwesili. As they say, former this, former that. But her latest concern is how to bring back our girls.
Hi.
Welcome.
Good to have you. Bring back our girls.
Yeah.
How has it been?
The girls are back.
And you know, I have actually, there was a time I was following it regularly. I could readily tell you is day this or day that. Right now, what day are we at the moment?
Day 272, the girls are back.
272. And how does that make you feel leading this campaign without success so far?
I think it should be, how does that make us feel?
Yes, as a people.
As a people. I think clearly for us, we should ask ourselves very, very deep questions. And I think that the central question is, what's our value of the human life? No society that we know through history has been progressive, made it on the back of disdain for the dignity of the human life. If our society has become so destroyed in its appreciation of what it means to be human, then we all really should cry for our society. The human life is the reason, the respect you have for the human life is the reason you're part of humanity. But here we are, in a society where people die in hundreds, in thousands, and it doesn't really make a difference. It's almost like the show goes on for Nigerians because it has not affected them. That's not a society that's viable in the long run. You don't want a society where life becomes short, nasty, and brutish.
Why do you think this is happening to us?
It is happening to us, I guess, because if you looked through history, you would find that the effect of the Nigerian Civil War just never was discussed openly. And I think we just decided the war was over, and then there was a declaration, no victor, no vanquished, and everybody just simply carried on with life. No nation that has gone through anything similar to the kind of pogrom that we went through just simply moved on. They always did something important. It was to have a conversation. It was to have a conversation on what was this that befell us. How must we act in order to avoid similar kind of situations and conditions? We never did. We simply moved on. So guess what? At every stage in this country, each group has felt it is happening to somebody else. It doesn't concern me. And so it happens to the Easterners, then it goes to the Southwesterners. In a limited form, they could say that theirs was the fact that someone from their part of the country who won the elections never got to rule, and that he died in the process of wanting to validate his victory, his electoral victory. Then it travels and it goes in the direction, you look at what's gone on with the Niger Deltans, and you see the pain of a Kent Saruwiwa and the legacy of his agitation in the Niger Delta. And while he was doing all of that, the rest of the people would have said, it's their business. And then you look at, you in the Central. I assume that you're probably from the Central. Maybe I'm presumptuous, but, listening to your name.
I'm from the Niger Delta.
You're from the Niger Delta, okay.
Yes.
We're all the same, So you look at the people from the central part of our country, the middle belt. They've got their own issues they've been crying about. And then suddenly we're in the corner. And this is happening. And what do you think everybody does? They perfected the art of being unconcerned about the pain of their neighbors. Is that a society? There's something wrong with this.
What should we do?
Yes, but before then, I wanted to ask a question about the fate of these girls. Now, we've seen Shekarau say that some of these girls have been married off. There are people who suggest, there's no intelligence information to back up what I'm about to say, but it's a suggestion out there when people talk. Recently, we had several bombings in the north. Some of these bombings were carried out by young girls. In Kano alone, there were 5 cases of young girls involved in suicide bombing. Now, there are people who believe that these are the cheaper girls that are being used for these bombings. Now, like I said earlier, no intelligence to back up that, but do you get a sense of that at all?
I am somebody who is driven always by empirical evidence. And so it had been important for us to try to understand what was going on with the girls. And from the record that's in the public space, the average age that they have said of these girls has been anything between 12, 10, 30, and 13. The latest one was said to be a 10-year-old girl. They don't fall within the age cluster of the Chibok girls, who were girls, girls nearing the old, the older teenage years of 16, 17, 18, and taking their final secondary school certification examination. But that's not the issue. I think the issue is not whether these are Chibok girls. The issue is that to understand that our agitation and our advocacy for the Chibok girls is born out of what they symbolize. The fact that they were abducted, and our society thinks that it is okay to move on. Come on. You cannot move on when you've got 219 of your children taken away by savages. You can't move on as a society. What you send as a signal when you move on is simply that it really doesn't matter what you do with our children. Therefore, what they are doing by sending out children in the age of 12, 10 to go and commit these deadly acts, these heinous acts of killing in massive numbers, is to say to you, you have absolutely no value for your children. So we can pluck any of your children and do whatever we care to do with them. So don't make it a conversation about, could it be the Chibok girls? It could be any child. And what we must say as a society is that this is totally reprehensible and that it is a commentary on our own values that we allow this to happen.
But the government keeps saying they are doing their very best. The president has talked about the efforts of government to rearm the military, to rejig the intelligence, so that these girls can be freed. Are we being really fair on the government when we just say that nothing is being done?
As I said, I'm driven by empirical evidence. I'm not a soppy and sentimental person when it comes to issues that are issues. If I'm going to be sentimental in my role as a mom, in my role as a wife, I get very sentimental. You won't, there are different parts of me.
As a straight line.
Yes, there are different parts of me. But when we're discussing issues that require intellectual analysis, we should not bring sentiments into it. You asked me that question. How do you arrive at your conclusion? Number one, these girls were abducted midnight of the 14th of April. I am very, very prolific on the social media. As soon as I saw on my timeline the news that was broken by BBC that this large number of children had been abducted from a school, I began to ask questions to say, is this true? Why was I agitated? I was agitated because I felt the pain of how quickly we moved on when 59 children were killed and slaughtered. They were slaughtered, brutalized in their sleep and burnt at the Federal Government College, Buniyadi. I'm sure you can imagine the attachment that I would have to hearing a school that was once within the purview of my responsibility in this nation. Children were slaughtered. And, it happened in February 2014. No word, nothing. We moved on. So when this happened, I said, no. We can't keep quiet. We can't move on. Now, from that 14th, we disturbed to get a word from our government. It wasn't until the 4th of May that our president spoke for the first time. After that, series of blunders in the way that the issue of these girls the issue was being handled. And then, look at what the fiasco that happened in October 17th, after many other false a communication that girls had been rescued. Yes. Then we were told that it was a ceasefire. That was a fiasco. Didn't that make you question the level of incompetency and perhaps a level of deceit that has basically characterized the matter of the rescue of these girls? For me, it's about evidence. If the government says it has done so much to try to rescue these girls, just compare the actions of the French. The French are dealing with a terrorist situation. Have you been able to get the same level of confidence looking at what your own government has done
I think
in comparison to what the French are doing?
The answer is quite obvious.
Very good.
We're out of time.
But our girls are not back.
They're not
back. And so every day on your show, I need you to remind Nigerians that while they carry on with life, our girls are not back.
And quarrel about politics.
They must not be forgotten. Everyone who is right now making the power mongering their priority should be ashamed of themselves. Our girls are not back.
I think without a doubt we'll take that up.
Yes. We'll join the campaign.
Yes, but if you have a few seconds to just tell us what next.
What next is that we are staying with our advocacy. We are making this matter not go under the rug. It does not matter what level of insult and blackmail and all kinds of things that they throw at us. We believe that the social contract between citizens and the nation state would need to be defined or redefined on the basis of the fact that we collectively agree that we have failed colossally.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Obi Ezekwesili. Always exciting to talk to her. We have another exciting personality sitting right here with us.
Yes.
Dr. Orji Uzor Kalu, former governor of Abia State.
He'll be with us right after this time out. Don't go away. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mahmoud Akuga.
I am Obiora Ilo.
From the 6th of January 2015, we will bring to you the O&M Late Show. The O&M Late Show will be on air twice a week from 11 to 12 midnight.
The O&M Late Show will be in-depth, incisive, objective, analytical, investigative.
It's still the O&M Sunday Show, and right at this point, we're being joined by former governor of Abia State, Dr. Orji Uzor Kalu.
How are you guys?
You're welcome, Your Excellency.
Welcome, Your Excellency. Sit, please.
Please sit there. Well, it's always nice having you in the studio. What has Orji Uzor Kalu been up to lately?
What have I been up to?
Lately?
Yes.
Unity of the country. Unity of the country. This is what I've been up to.
In what respect?
In making sure that the country remains one united country.
This morning we saw in the papers what your foundation is pushing, talking about people going to get the voters card, making sure they vote right. And I'm sure you heard some of our conversations about the language being used by politicians today, which a great number of Nigerians think are not unifying, but divisive. What is your take on that? You've had so many political campaigns, so you know how it is.
Well, I think we should talk more on issue. I was watching El-Rufai saying all kinds of things against the PDP, and it's not quite right. President Jonathan himself has been very careful on the message he's sending to people. And if you have watched him in Enugu and a few days ago, you will see that he was talking about what he will do for the people. And I seem to believe that both parties should buy their languages. It's not right to abuse anybody. Nigerian people are waiting for who will salvage the country. Nigerian people are more interested in having food on top of their who is going to fight. I continue seeing people who are saying that President Jonathan didn't do anything. Let me be honest to you. I'm a businessman and a politician. Nobody talks about the software of the political process. We're only looking at the hardware. The hardware are roads, this. President Jonathan has done a lot of things. It's just that the marketers are not marketed him well. He needs guys like you to market. Nobody talking about the airlines, nobody talking about the massive roads all over, except the ones across our own area. Nobody is talking about the software, the major software he has done is the rule of law. If it's in the past, What the politicians are saying all over Nigeria, nobody will say it. I was bruised as a governor of Abia State. Bruised, totally bruised. In an open day, a banking license was cancelled in one day, an airline license was cancelled in one day, and all businesses were collapsed. Had President Jonathan touched anybody's business since he became president? Rome was not built in a day. It is going gradually. I know there are so many things. This is a large country. There's no deficiency. There are a lot of deficiencies we'll find, but it will not be built in a day. He need more. After winning this election, President Jonathan need more strong characters who can look at his face and say, Mr. President, I will not do this because it's wrong. And that is the only way the country can move forward. It's only Nigeria people will be afraid who they appoint minister, who they appoint advisor, who they appoint. Look at America. John Kerry was a presidential candidate many years back, and he appointed Obama. Obama appointed him to be Secretary of State. Mrs. Clinton was a presidential candidate with John Kerry. She went to the cabinet. The country needs more strong characters to disagree with the president in-house. Maybe not in public. So many people are blaming President Jonathan on Chibok gears, on this. Yes, because most of these things, intelligence do not report to him. It's just a president. He has other aides. He has other people who's supposed to be doing this. And he will make a decision. So I think the process of arguing every time, every hips is, but I know he's the president. But sometimes he has intelligence officers down the road.
And what you're suggesting is that aides should be strong people that will bring value to the table.
That will bring value to the table. And look at the president and said, no, I will not do this.
This is the way it should be.
This is the way it should be. If you don't want, I resign. This is your job. You have it back. If I'm President Jonathan's internal security minister or some minister of presidential affairs or whatever you call it, I'll be able to tell him the truth. But if it doesn't work, this is your job. You have it back.
Your Excellency, are we politically developed to be able to accommodate that type of situation? Yes, I mean, the political parties, for instance, whoever wins the election in February, between February and May, we are going to have the party's list. We are going to have the governor's list of
the village list,
the Old Boys Association list, and all that. And a president is confronted with all these options.
And it's our people doing it. The president should be able to be man enough to say, no, I want to work with Benito. I want to work with Adamu Masu. I want to work with Orji Kalu. I want to work with Peter B. I want to work with Ezekwesili. I want to work with this. And nobody should challenge it because, I mean, this is the way it should be. So the country will change.
But that kind of situation may affect zoning. Of course, a minister must come from Anambra. A minister must come from Taraba State.
This country has resources. In every zone, you have people with strong character. This is when people talk about IBB, people think, because I'm close to him, I continue talking about his ministerial list. When you check, when I was governor, for example, you see my commissioners were people of strong character who will be able to tell me, no, we won't do this. Oye Kweroma of Daford, Moses Aga of Citizen Bank, MD of Citizen Bank, our Kalu SN, Prince Uche SN, this is Professor Obuago. These are people that made my commissioners. They get to the room and tell me, no.
You were talking about IBB.
When IBB was president, you remember people like Ezekwesili, not Ezekwe, not, I mean, the engineer.
Yes, yes.
But the
professor.
Professor. You see the Kalu, you see Ochu Okongu, you see Professor Babs Fafuwa, you see Professor Jibril Aminu, you see Ruwan Lukba, may so rest in peace. You see all the strong characters. Bolajaki, you see all these people were his ministers. People should not be afraid of taking people with strong character to work for them. And the sacrificing will stop. What is holding the country on the floor is sacrificing. Nobody can tell you, like, people will tell you, oh, the first lady had no reason to support any candidate. It's not true. The first lady is a Nigerian.
And a politician.
And a politician. She's voting. First and foremost, Mrs. Jonathan is a politician.
Yes.
So she can say, no, I don't want Orji Kalu to go to Senate, but I want somebody else to go. It's her choice. That is not the choice of my constituency. She might say, I don't want this man to be governor of Rivers State. I want that man to be governor of Rivers. That is her choice. Her choice does not in any way represent the
choice
larger
of society.
Other people will have their own.
She can endorse. Yes.
Does she have a say or choice to say, this is who I want? Yes, the answer is yes. So the problem is that people are trivializing all things we are doing in the country.
Okay. Yes, I want to ask you something, because from the way you've spoken, you believe in the Jonathan administration, and I believe you will want to see the Jonathan administration returned in May this year. Now, there's something that gives a lot of people a lot of concern, that a former president, in the person of President Olusegun Obasanjo, can openly come out and say this about a member of his party, a man, you know, he handed over to Yar'Adua and then on to him, to say, look, Jonathan is not running the country properly. He had written letters, he lambasted him in his book. I mean, whoever cares to hear, to listen, he's told them outright that Jonathan is running the country poorly. This is a man I also know you've had your personal battles with, President Olusegun Obasanjo. What he's doing now, do you consider it statesmanly? Is this statesman just a troublemaker?
No. Let me tell you. As I'm talking to you now, President Jonathan and President Obasanjo are sitting in one room talking right away. Most of these ex-presidents and most of these people who call themselves statesmen, sometimes because the president refused to do one thing or the other to them, he becomes their enemy. That is not the way things should be. Obasanjo have never seen anything good in anything anybody have done or will do. To me, he's a statesman. I don't want to discuss it. I want him to settle with President Jonathan as they are settling right away. They are making peace right away.
As we speak.
As we speak, they are making peace right away. I want to see that peace germinate to success of the PDP. So I don't see. Sometimes you don't need to go and write a book and call yourself a saint and others are idiots. I mean, it's not right. I don't want to come here to insult any elder of the PDP or say this, but when my memoirs comes, Obasanjo will have a place in that book. Maybe a full chapter. Not more than a full chapter. So it will be there. I will say which are correct and which everybody knows is the truth.
Dr. Kalu, you know, you always, I like to say sometimes that your pockets are full of surprises. Are we going to see one more surprise from you before the elections? Are you going to be a candidate in any of the elections? Are you going to be a candidate?
Well, yes and no. Why not? If my people want me to run.
I mean, 1 month to the election, you should know by now.
You don't know yet. I just came in. I don't know what is on the table.
I think the OPR has some information that I don't have.
Because I know that there's always police surprises. The next, I'm sure that in another 1 week or so, you'll be, either you're running for, of course you can't run for governor, maybe you run for president or you run for the Senate or...
No, I can't run against President Jonathan. I believe in President Jonathan's presidency.
Okay, you may run, but we can go home and sleep. It's not the presidency.
It's not the presidency.
Well, I think that's...
Excellency, but tell us, where do you see Nigeria May 29 to 2015? People have come up with all kinds of predictions. People have even said the country will disintegrate. Where do you see us?
We are not going to disintegrate. The indices that are showing shows there will be no disintegration. There are going to be some problem, but we'll contend it. There are going to be some problem. And let me tell you, the forces on ground, what is on the hand? Jonathan will win this president with slight margin. The PDP should be careful. They might lose the National Assembly. People like me speak the truth. I don't care who wants to listen. PDP needs to be on track. A lot of things went wrong. They need to be on track. Jonathan's presidency is just going to be by chance of goodwill of the people who want this part of the software that he has. Nigeria is a free society.
Today.
In terms of the third world countries, Nigeria is the freest society today because the press are open. What El-Rufai was saying here, if it's in another African country, as he's finishing here, they will be arresting him outside.
Well,
this is not what we hear.
Well, on that optimistic note, we must draw the curtain. Dr. Kalu, as usual, would like to thank you for coming on the O&M Sunday show.
Which will have had a lot more time to...
I hope you come from time to time.
No, you can't come and give me 15 minutes. I didn't prepare for what I did.
We'll arrange it. We'll arrange it.
I want to thank you guys for having me here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And that's... thank you.
All right.
And that's our show for today.
Yes, Obiora.
Remember,
I'd like to, of course, remind our viewers that Tuesday night we'll be back here.
11 p.m.
Yes, with the O&M Late Show. Thank you so much for watching. I am Mahmoud Akuga.
From Abuja, Nigeria, I am Obiora Ilo. Let's do it Tuesday night.